Happy New Year's, people. It's a brand new year. Time to make resolutions. I thought I'd start this year off doing right for myself by getting on my knees praying and thanking God for a new year to come of rest, man. I don't watch social media, and I definitely don't scroll through TikTok. And I'd be lying if I didn't scroll through YouTube Shorts, and I've stopped doing that recently. Every once in a while, I catch myself. I literally would waste an hour or two scrolling, man. But it's like every time I log on to TikTok, like I said, I use this to edit, to put my stuff onto YouTube, because I'm a boomer when it comes to this tech, and TikTok makes it easy. But dude, they always have something bad showing up on my thing, man. It's like always like news channels. 10 people getting murdered. About to go to war. It's like, dude, I can only imagine. I've been talking to some young people lately, man. How much fear and anxiety that you guys must go through. Anybody, like even me. I'm 34, man. And I have so much anxiety that builds up in my head. And I try to stay away from all that. Because my real life is already stressful enough that I don't need to know what's happening 1,000 miles away or 100 miles away. Now, that's not to say to not know anything, what's going around you, right? But man, we live in a day where everything is just at you, man. Just like, listen to this. Like, someone just died. And the news, like, yeah, they're reporting stuff that happened, right? But they usually love to report on death, murder. This is what they love to do because they know that fear glues people to the TV. Drama. They know this. So they feed off it. And we feed off it as well as the fish. And we get traumatized and we get scarred, and you don't even know what's happening to you mentally. Just little by little tinks in your brain, just little armor pieces coming off you. Anyways, sorry. That's not what I wanted to start off the New Year's about. But this is a year where fear is gonna be broken, baby. We're gonna stop all that fear and anxiety that seemed to have come over after COVID, for me at least. I just saw the world shift after COVID, man. Just a bunch of fear just roaming across. Now, I've grown up with fear, man. But that ends today, So today, we are on Proverbs 1. And it says, the beginning of knowledge, right? So I've been starting this series, reading Proverbs, the day that it is. And today is January 1st. And so we will read. To know wisdom and instruction, to perceive the words of understanding, to receive the instruction of wisdom, justice, judgment, equity, to give prudence to the simple, to the young man, knowledge and discretion. A wise man will hear and increase learning, and a man of understanding will attain wise counsel. To understand a proverb, an enigma, I can never say that word right. The words of the wise and their riddles. That's funny. What? Verse 6, let me see. To understand a proverb and an enigma, the words of the wise and their riddles. Is that where the Riddler got his stuff from the Bible? Yo, that's strange, man. I might be tripping. Dude, this was 2,000 years ago. This is weird. Number 7, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction. My son, hear the instruction of your father, and do not forsake the law of your mother. For they will be graceful ornaments on your head and chains about your neck. Wow. I read this a lot, man. It's so funny, just like a book, right? You read it enough and you could get new things sometimes. Like, this is verse 8 says, my son, hear the instructions of your father and do not forsake the law of your mother. It's like, dang. Just like, yeah, my whole life, dude, I just thought when I was young, my dad was such an angry, abusive, cussing at me, telling me to go die. All this stuff he used to say. But in between those things, he would tell me very wise things. And I recognize that now at a young age. He's like, stop being lazy, like, and all these little parables and things he would say, even out of irritation. I can't memorize it now, but it's in here. Because I know sometimes as I'm working or I'm living life as an adult, I remember the things my dad says. And I'm like, man, I can't believe he was right. The instructions that he told me to do. He said, one of the things, as far as business, he says, do not make friends with your employees. And he warned me time and time and again. Even before I even ran a business. And he was so right. In honesty. And even for myself, who's But the things I understand, he told me his own life lessons that he learned. Now, I'm not saying to just hate your employees or anything, but I know so many times when I became friends with my employee, like I'm actual friends, right? I started to care, right? Then it would mess up with the business because then you would fight because friends, you can become close, right? Then it's like, oh, I'm your friend, but I'm gonna be working under you. Like there's this weird tension. And for those of you guys that says no, well, you must be a better man or a human than my employees or I am, because I've seen it happen time and time, and not just towards me, other people that own businesses or even work for other people and become friends with the business owners. Now, I'm not saying it's always bad, There might be two magical people with the same amount of integrity and honesty, and maybe they vibe well. It's just I've had a lot more hurt than I've had a lot more loyalty and friends, that stuck around as far as business goes. And it says, do not forsake the law of your mother. Man, it's so interesting. I just think about all the empathy my mom used to tell me. I used to bring over like homeboys with teardrops. And I'm Asian, right? So if you have any Asian friends growing up, right then and there going to their houses, if you ever did, that there is a high respecting that us Asians do. Like you go in, you better take off your shoes. And we bring our friends over. He's like, hey, take off your shoes. Like relax. Like come in. And we gotta shut up before we gotta go into my room. Like I know I had some white friends like, oh yeah, come on in, man. And my black homie's like, hey, come on, what do you want to eat? And the mom was like, hey, you want some Kool-Aid, homeboy? And I'm like, yeah. Like everything's chill. And I'm like, what is going on here? Because at my house it's like, shh, let's go sneak into my room before my grandpa hears and beats my ass. It's like, sorry for the cursing. That's just how it was for me. And I know it's not just me. So many of my people grew up that way around my age that I knew in Texas, all right? So I know I'm not the only one. Man, but I remember my mama, man. As I grew older and I started hanging out, you could say the wrong crowd, but God had a plan. He brought all of them to Jesus, man, to himself. And I just seen my mom, like teardrop, big homies of mine coming into the house. And I later found out was she would look at them, and I know, knowing my mama and knowing any Asian lady, they still would be like, oh, get out of my house, unless that's her own son. They'd be like, oh, get the hell out of my house. That's how they would act. I'm being upfront here. Like us, our Asian generation, our older generation can be hella judgmental and even racist. It's just true. But I see my mama, man, and even my dad would be like, get these gangbanging thugs out of my house, and he'd be cussing, and he'd be saying that in Korean, right? But my mom's like, no, they're good boys. Like I could tell she's trying to see beneath the scary face that some of my older homies had, and beneath the tattoos, beneath everything, my mom. And she would have this empathy. Whether she was having it for them or for me, but I saw her genuinely care for some of my friends and pray for them. And I just remember those moments. And that is probably do not forsake the law of your mother. Empathy, compassion. My mom never been a gangbanger. She's never hung around with drug addicts. She always tried, I could see from that age when I was young, she tried to put herself in other people's shoes and try to understand them, because we're all humans, right? And from that, there grew empathy and compassion in me. But I had to go through a lot of things, like homelessness for just a little bit, and jail time just a little bit, drugs, rehabs, owning a business, hanging out with very rich and wealthy people, to hanging out with freaking pimps and hoes and gay men. Like, dude, I feel like he put me in every situation just a little bit, just to have some empathy for people. And that's straight up the laws that my mom instilled into me, and the instructions that my father built. That's the kind of man that I am today. Now, sometimes I feel a little weak as a man because of my empathy, but at the same time, I feel strong than when I was a young boy, man. So anyways, it's a brand new year. Start off right. Go back to the gym. Go hit up them weights. Feel good. Read some books. And thank the Lord that you alive for another year, man. Praise God, man. and blessings to everybody.